rows here. I've just been chatting away for the last 5 minutes, just realizing that I didn't push record, so let's try this again. This is a impromptu video. I was gonna do like whips and whatnots today, but my son asked for me to make a video so that he wanted me to make him one of these. I just whipped this up last night. I don't know if you remember, I had a white cat in my video. I had to put him down yesterday. So anyway, he was almost 14, so had him a long time. But anyway, I'm going to try not to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just going to power through this. So I thought we would try to make this today. Kind of free balling it. Wrote down some notes, so hopefully we can get through it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do Pyro in this Aran color. And for his color bits, I'm going to do it in this gold. And this is I Love This Yarn in the Sun Gold. And we're going to need our 4mm scissors and a tapestry. And do the magic circle. Let me see if I can get you closer to me. Okay. And there's that. Pinch that. Chain one. All right, and now what we're going to do is this is basically a standard, I call it a standard increase. So whatever number you start with, we're going to increase it up. So we're going to start with 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, pull that a little bit. And I'll go here. And then I'm going to pull the tail. And they're like trimming trees out there. I hope it's not going to come through. I guess I'll find out when I do a playback. And all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go in that first single crochet, and we're going to do 2 single crochets. So I'm going to take my tail with me. So there's 1, 2, and the next one, 2 single crochets. And we're not going to be joining anything, so here's 3. And we're going to just do that all the way around. 4. 5, and 6. This probably isn't a beginner friendly, but if you are a beginner, still try it. And if it's too difficult, just put it away for a while. I remember when I first started, I was attracted to the things that were really cute, like just doing dishcloths and stuff, which was like really boring to me. So I would try to do stuff that was harder than my experience, but I would just save it in my library and come back to it later. So we started with 6, we've done 12, and now 6 times 3 is 18. So we're going to count up to 18, and it's going to be 2 single crochets in one stitch, 1 single crochet in the next, 2 single crochets, 1, 2, 1, and it should equal up to 18. If you need to, you could put a stitch marker. Okay. 1, 2. Oops. 3. All right, and that's what we're going to do all the way around. This will be 4, 4 and 5, and then 6, 7 and 8, 9, 10 and 11, 12. And then I'll just meet you at the other end. All right, here we are back to 18. And also when I'm counting up, just a little extra bit, the way I remember it, because I like to count up to the number I need, is I kind of make these sounds like 1 and 2. That way I know, okay, well, I'm putting 2 in there, and then I'll like change the tone in the third one. That way I kind of keep track of where I am. So like this one is going to be 24 stitches, 6 times 4. And so it'll be 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. It's like I make it like pronounced, so that's just my little deal. I don't know how everybody else does it. And let's see, I lost count. Okay, and I'll just meet you at the other end, and you should have 24 stitches all the way around. Hi everyone, I'm back. I've counted. I've got 24 stitches all the way around. And now we're going to start building the body of it. We're not going to do any more increases. So if you know how to count your rows, I don't know if you can see it, how it does this like S looking thing. That's the beginning of the second row, that little notch right there. That's how I usually keep track. But if you notice that we are not lined up with that, but that it doesn't even, it's fine. We're gonna line that up later if we need to. So this would be a good time that when you put your first stitch in, go ahead and mark it either in the front or on the top. And we're just gonna go in the round. And we're gonna do that for like 5 rounds. So we should have, let's come back and we'll see how many rows we end up with. So let's go. We've got 1, 2, 3. It's okay, that's gonna start curling up. We can form it as we need at the end of row 9. We'll see where we're at. Okay guys, I am back, and even though I may finished over here, technically if you're counting every stitch, I went ahead and did a few more single crochets to line up with my notch down here. I'm going to do the invisible decrease. So we're going to lift up that front loop, and we're going to scoop up under the next one, and then we're going to pull through those 2, and then we're going to finish the single crochet. Now I'm going to use my stitch marker here. Okay, so that was 1 and 2, and now we're going to do 2 single crochets. 1, 2. Make sure I'm staying in here. And now we're going to do that again. We'll do it one more time. Scoop under the first, scoop under the second. I'm going to go ahead and hold that next spot. Yarn over, pull through, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets. 1, and then the next one. 1. All right, and now I'm just going to let you carry on. And we should have 18 stitches at the end of this round. Okay, I'm back. We have 18 single crochets around. I counted off camera. And so for this round, we're going to do 1 single crochet in the first. And then we're going to do that invisible decrease in the next two stitches. Hold that 3rd stitch there. Okay. Reach over. So we did 1 single crochet here, then we did an invisible decrease here. Next one will be a single crochet, and then we'll do another decrease, And that is going to be our pattern for this row. So you can pause and I will catch you in just a few minutes. Okay, I'm back again. And this is what we're looking at. So this would be a good time to go ahead. You know, I didn't do it on the first one, but I think this would be a good time to go ahead and embroider our little face. Okay, I've got my black yarn. Let's see if I can zoom out here. And I think I just am going to take probably a good 18-20 inches. Get this on here. Now, the way this one is, it's basically like these little V's, although it does look like little U's. That is what I'm going to try and mimic. Count down 6 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just going to stick this in there. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm in between row 6 and row 7. And I'm going to just come out any point. And I'm going to leave a tail to sew that. Okay. Then I'm just going to come down 1 row. And then I'm going to go up out. I'm going to skip a stitch and I'm going to go out the other one. I'm not going to pull tight. And then I'm going to go back into where I came, that middle part. Then I'm going to skip 2, just leave it here for now because we're going to take this and we're going to start our other eye over here. So we have the corner of our eye. We're going to skip 1 stitch, 2 stitches, and we're going to come out on this 3rd stitch. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. And now I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to go down the diagonal stitch. I'm going to come out. I'm going to skip a stitch and I'm going to come out the one right next to it. Then I'm going to go back into that middle. I'm sure there's an easier way to do it. I'm not the best at this embroidery stuff, but I would like to get better at it. So we have eyes. So let me just tie, I'm just going to tie a square knot, kind of loose, not too tight anyway. Just going to pull that open. You can also do this at the end. Like I already had this head done when I sewed that on, but I always like to do things different each time, I think. All right. Okay. Now let's do, where's the pink? And then we'll get some pink for the nose. It's going to be probably, I'm going to say about 2 feet. And what I'm going to do is I actually did a really simple thing on this. You could even like fill it in, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to keep it simple. So I think I want it as in the middle as possible. So looking at this, it looks like I'm going to do I see this here. This looks like the middle to me. So I think I'm just going to do a little triangle right there. So I'm going to come up, out that, and I'm going to go down 1 stitch, and before I pull it, I'm going to come out so I'm basically got 1 square. And how do these people do it? All right, like that. Then I'm going to go back down that middle part. Just to make it a triangle, I'm going to come back out that first stitch. And then I'm going to cross over. Cross over. All right, got my polyfill stuffer. And just a little bit at a time. Here. I like to push it and cup it in my hand, because you guys probably know stuff like starts to deflate a little bit, I guess, the more you push on it. All right, I'm not going to overstuff it yet because I want to have room. Here. All right, so now what we're going to do is we've done 2 rows of decrease, and normally you would just do invisible decrease all the way around, but I found that I don't like that by accident. You're going to hear me say that a lot. I run into things by accident. So what we're going to do on this is we're going to do a invisible decrease, then a single crochet, invisible decrease, single crochet, and then just do that all the way around. Invisible. Invisible, and then decrease. I noticed it doesn't leave such a huge gap. It makes it look more like this, just looks more seamless. And a lot of times with decreases, it just looks like a big, like it doesn't look right. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and stuff this last bit in here. And then we can just, you can either fasten off right now and sew it, or you can do another round of decreases with me. Oh, you know, another tip is when I put my stuffing in, oh geez, here's my clock again. I get it to where I can put my whole finger in there, and then I just start working it to the sides. And then what I end up doing is I just have this hole here, and then I just stuff that hole. That way I feel like I get it more in proportion. So go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you back here in a second. All right. Now, you know, I normally hold my yarn like this. Sometimes I change it because that gives me a little bit more traction. Maybe we can do another video on that one. How to hold it so it doesn't like slide out of your hand. Okay, so now I'm just going to do that invisible decrease. I'm just going to do that all the way around. And I just actually discovered this like in the last couple of days, because I've been working on Pikachu, and I'm still working on Darth Vader. And I've been like doing a lot of the heads. All right, I'm just gonna cut me anything. And I know that's sticking up, but I'm going to poke it through. And it's going to get rid of it. And I'm just going to come up here. There. That way it's kind of like flat down in there. It'll be fine. There you go. And I'm most likely going to do this in a 2-part video because I have a feeling this is going to be long. And I don't want it to be too long. All right, so now let's do, how about we make the ears? The ears is going to be magic circle. Get you back with me. Do a magic circle. Turn. And we're going to do 4 single crochets. This is going to be the most fiddly part of the whole thing, because 4 single crochets in a magic circle is not easy. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to join and pull that, and then I'm going to do, we've got 4 single crochets. In this first single crochet, I'm going to do 2 single crochets, the next one 1, 2 single crochets, 1. So we're going to end up with 6 single crochets. So there's 1, take that tail, 2, and it wants to curl up and we want it to curl the other way, so just sticking my finger in there. Okay, there's 3. Trying to fold that down. 3. And here is 4, 5, and 6. Something else I do is I take my hook and I'll like curl it down. Anything to help. Let's just get rid of this thing here. And all right, now we're going to do our last row, and it's going to be, we're going to go from 6 stitches to 8 stitches, and that'll be 2 single crochets in the first stitch, single crochet in the next, single crochet in the next, 2 single crochets, single, single. So here we go. There's 1 and 2. 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. Okay. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take whatever secondary color you want for your cat. I'm going to do this gold. And before I close this up, I'm going to go ahead and embroider on. So I'm just going to come up. Like there's where we started. Second row, and this is the 3rd row. So I'm basically going to come up on that between the 1st and 2nd row. I'm just going to pop up anywhere. And then I'm just basically going to come down, and I'm going to go back up through there. Okay? And then I'm going to come back down next to it a little bit. Get you over here. Come next to it a little bit, and then go right back up where I started. And I'm going to go over, and I'm going to go right back up where I started. And then I'm going to come back down in between there because there's a little gap there I want to go ahead and cover up. And that's good enough for me. So let's go ahead and just cut that. I'm just going to do a little square knot. And I think I'm going to just cut this pretty close. Okay. Yeah. Go under both of those loops, pull it, come back to me. And then about 3 or 4 times over. And then I'm just going to tie off a little bit. There. Ear number 1. Now you're just going to repeat that, and then I will meet you back here. Okay, so now we're going to sew these ears on. And the way I think I'm going to do it is, got the middle here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to stick it there. And as I'm looking at it, I can see the eyes. And then I'm going to see if this is going to work. So let me get the other one. 1, 2, 3. So the top of my ear is going to go on that 3rd row. 1, 2, 3. I'm looking down at it and I can see I like the way that looks. So you can pin it too. Pin it in place and then you'll not have to worry about it being crooked. I'm going to fold it flat. And I'm going to get my head out of the way, pick up a loop. I'm going to go in the, like on the top here. I'm not going under both loops. Okay, and I'm pushing down to hold it in place. And then I'm going to move up, pick up another loop, pick up a top loop, and do that. Pick up another loop, pick up a top loop, okay, and pick up this one, pick up a top loop, okay, and now I'm going to flip it and I'm going to turn it over, and then I'm going to do the same thing in the back. I'm going to pick up a loop, and if I don't see a loop, it's fine. You can just pick up something that's on the back. It's forgivable. Pick up another loop. I'm going to go back here. And I'm going to go down in here a little bit. Pick up something. It's like my phrase that pays. Just pick up something. Or it doesn't matter. I say that a lot. Okay. Now before I close that, I'm going to grab my hoop and do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in to somewhere in the back and I'm going to come out a hole that's an actual stitch. I'm not going to like break any, like split any yarn. Okay, I'm just going to leave that. Now let's sew this other one on real quick. And I went 3 down, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3. I'm like eyeballing it. Okay. And let's see here. It's the bottom, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3 down. And so we're going to be 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's do the front. Come here at the bottom. Pick it up. Pick it up. What looks good here? something like that. This looks good. This looks good. My son is already out there working out. I'm like, gotta get out there. There's that. Flip it over, pulling it. Let's go to the back side. Okay, and then before I kitty head. There you go, kitty head. All right, now I'm going to stick it in somewhere back here, and I'm going to come out the same hole as that first yarn. This is another little trick so that you don't ever have to worry, you know. And I'm just going to tie a square knot. I'm just going to do 2 because get rid of some of this. And then you can take your hook. You take your hook and you can go in one of these holes. And since you went in the same hole, you can just, sometimes I wrap it and then I just like pull it back down in there. Sometimes you can wiggle it side to side. That way it's knotted off and you don't have to worry about it falling apart. All right, so let's get started with the body. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to start with the legs and work up. So let's do the first leg. And we're going to do the magic circle. And we're going to start with 6 single crochets. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to join. And then we're going to do an increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, and we're going to do that all the way around. And we're going to end up with 9 stitches. So we're going to do 1 and 2. Next stitch, 3. Next stitch is 4 and 5. Next stitch is 6. Next stitch is 7 and 8. And the last stitch is number 9. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do 9 single crochets for another 8 rows. So we're going to have a total of 10 rows. Okay, I've got my 10 rows. So I am going to go in the next stitch and I'm going to slip stitch, chain 1, and I'm just going to fasten off. And we'll just set this one aside. And so now what you'll do is you'll make another one, but don't cut your yarn. And then I'll meet you back here when you have your second leg. Okay, I just want to spend a minute on this because when you're joining it together, it does give it a more seamless look. But when you don't know what you're looking at, it can be very, very confusing. And I'm still putting it together myself. So what the deal is is we have our 9 single crochets. Okay, this technically is our last stitch, and then we slip stitched into this next stitch, which gives us this other little hoop. So basically we turned this stitch and this stitch into one stitch. So when we join, we're going to join, we can either join in here or we can join in here, but not both, because then you'll have extra stitches. So a lot of times I will go into here and then just skip this hole altogether and then go over. You can do it either or. So let's get this one. We're going to take this part a little slow because we want to make sure we have the right stitches. So we started with 9 and 9. And so what we're going to do is we're going to join up here. And we're going to join with a slip stitch. So we're going to pull that through, pull it through, slip stitch. Now, we're going to go back into there that we just did and do a single crochet. Don't lose sight of this hole here that I was just talking about. That's where we slipped into. Just keep your mind open that we're going to be skipping that. That is our first single crochet. Okay, we slip stitched. Now we're going to go in there and we're going to do, if I can get myself together here, I'm going to do a single crochet. And that is where I'm going to put my stitch marker. Okay, now that is going to be number 1. We're going to get out of there. We're going to skip this hole, and we're going to go here, and this is going to be number 2. So that was number 1. Skip that. This will be number 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now we're in the back. And this is where it gets tricky again, because you're like, where do I go? We're going to go, see those 2 lines pulling up? I'm going to go right into that first stitch right there. So this is going to be number 10. Okay. See if I can get up there. Here. Go right there. This will be number 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So now I'm just going to check myself, make sure I have 18 stitches. And then look at this mess. It looks like we should be going into all that stuff, but this is actually the slip stitch in chain 1 that we did to actually join it. I used to make that mistake of thinking I needed to go in there, but I've checked. I've got 18 stitches. And now I'm going to start my next round, and I'm going to go into my first stitch. Just going to do a single crochet. We're going to do one more round of 18 single crochets. So there's 1. All right, so just do 18 single crochets, and I will meet you at the end of this row, and we will. Okay, so we've done our 18 single crochets to join, and then we did one round of 18 single crochets, which brings us to row 13, and we're going to start to increase. So we're going to go from 18 single crochets to 27. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to do 2 single crochets in this next stitch and a single crochet in the next. Let me move my notes off here. All right. So we've got 1, 2, 3. And that's going to be our repeating pattern. 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet. And then we're just going to do that all the way around, the total of 27 stitches when we get done. So I will just meet you there. Alrighty, so we just did our last increase to 27 stitches. We're starting row 14, and we're going to do 10 rows of 27 stitches. So this would be a good time to get out your stitch counter, or I'm just going to put my stitch marker and then count up. So I'm starting my, I think, 14th row. So we're just going to do 27 stitches all the way around for 10 rows. So I will meet you back here at the end of 24. Okay, I just finished row 24. Okay, I've done my 10 rows. Now for row 25, we're going to do the invisible decrease, single crochet, invisible decrease, single crochet. So we're going to go from 27 stitches back down to 18. So let's get this. 1, 2. Okay. Single crochet, invisible decrease, hold that stitch, single crochet, slip, slip, hold, okay. We're just going to do that all the way around. All right, and I will see you here in just a few minutes. Okay, so this is going to be a good time to start stuffing. We've got our 18 stitches. And you can actually stuff as you go if you prefer. I don't really like to do that. I like to wait till I have like a good portion done. Just makes it easier for me to do, go in the rounds and stuff like that. So we're just going to stuff it. I apologize if the lighting's changed. Wish I could just like fast forward when I'm trying to like do these single crochets in a row, and I have to do several rounds. Now we're going to start decreasing, and I'm going to wait. I'm not going to stuff anymore right now. So we are starting, we just did the decrease, so yeah, we're starting row 26. So we did a decrease single crochet, decrease single crochet, and now we're going to do that again. That same process. So we're going to do a decrease, single crochet, invisible decrease, single crochet. You guys are probably pros at this by now. Decrease, single crochet. So I'm not going to dawdle on this. I will just see you at the end for 26. So we went from 18 down to 12. We're going to just do a decrease all the way around, but I think I'm going to put a little bit more stuffing in here before I get too small of a hole. All right, so let's do invisible decrease, and we're going to do this 6 times. 2. You just pause as you need to, and we'll meet up when we meet up. All right. Yeah, there we go. Do a little bit more stuffing. Gonna regret not putting more in there, aren't I? All right, so we're gonna just slip stitch. Cut about 8 inches. This is gonna be covered up by the tail, so it's quite all right as well. And let's see, I think I'm just gonna go across. Go across. I'm gonna go next door. Go up. You can also like pick up each of the loops. There's like different ways to do it. Fasten off. Okay, then I'm going to stick him back in here. Scoot him out. It's going to be midnight by the time I finish this. All right, we're going to start the tail. I got my second color standing by because we're going to change colors. You can do as many rows as you want, but Pyro just had like 3, so I'm going to do that. We'll start with a magic circle. And chain. And we're going to do 6 single crochets in our ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pull that a little bit. And here's my 6th, or actually my first single crochet. Then I'm going to just pull everything. And now we're going to do 6 single crochets. Take his tail with me. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This thing's starting to curl, so I'm just going to stick my hook in there. That was 5. And then 6. Just for this video, I'm just going to get rid of this. Okay, now let's go ahead and do one more row. So I want you to do is do 5 full single crochets, because the 6th one we're going to change. So let's do this one together. 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's 5. Now on 6, we're going to go in, we're going to pull up a loop, and we're going to leave it. Normally we would yarn over, pull it through, We're just going to pull up that loop and leave it. And now we're going to grab our tail color, and just like how you would wind up the yarn in your hand, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold it. And then I'm going to lay it in the back of my project. And then I'm going to yarn through. So do that again. So we did 5 single crochets. Number 6, go in, pull it up, leave it. And then we're going to, just however you hold it in your yarn holding hand, I'm just going to set it up, and then I'm going to lay it in the back. And I'm going to hold the white and the gold, these 2 fingers. So this is nice and taut. And then I'm going to yarn over and pull through. So these 2 are holding it. I'm going to come back here and I'm just going to yank this white one down. That way it finishes, by doing it that way, it finishes that 6th stitch. Now we're going to do 6 single crochets. I'm not going to carry the white with me because we're changing next round. So I'm going to hold this somehow. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do 1. Stick my finger in there, give me some traction. 2. 3. 4. 5. Here we are again at the 6th one. I'm going to go in. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to let the gold go. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to get my white set up in my hand. And then I'm going to finish it. Then you can just pull that gold taut back down. Okay, so that gives us 6 of the gold. Now we're going to do 6 white, which will be 5 actually white. We're going to change again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we are at number 6 again. I'm going to go in, pull up, let the white go, come in here and get it set up in my hand. Go ahead and pull that a little bit. Finish it with the gold. Let's do that again. So get my finger in that hole a little bit. So here's 1. Oops, myself. Oh, I started it at the wrong bit. Okay, there's 1. 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's number 6 again. So I'm going to go in. I'm going to pull up a loop. Let that go. And pull up the white and finish it. Pull the gold down a little bit. Okay. Do that again. 1, 2, because it situation here. 3, 4, 5. Here we are, number 6. Pull up, drop, pick up the gold. There. So this is our last one. So we're going to do 5 single crochets. 1, 4, 5, and 6. Pull up, drop, pick up, finish it. I'm going to pull that down, and I'm going to go ahead and just cut that off. Doesn't need to be much. Now we can just get our finger in there, and we can just do single crochets around. Go ahead and do 10 rows, 6 single crochets all the way around, and I will meet you back. And had to wait for my clock to stop. All right, so I did my 10 rounds, and now we are going to slip stitch into the next stitch and fasten off. Slip stitch, chain 1, and I'm going to go ahead and actually leave about, say, 12-15 inches, because I'm going to sew this down. All right, let's zoom out of here a little bit. Good, I think my husband's cooking something. Yes. All right. Let's get body parts here. All right. So this is what we got going on. I think we will sew the head on. And this is where you're going to decide how you want it. So I think that is what I want. Yeah. So let me go ahead and get I think I will get probably 24 to 30 inches to sew it on. Too much is better than not enough, right? Okay. Let's see. Now I'm going to place it. The bottom of his head is actually going to go in this little nook. I'm just going to put it in the nook. And I think I'm going to have him be just a little bit facing down. And let's see here. So the way this is going to go is, you see how it's starting to be flat here? That's kind of where I'm going to be picking up stitches. As you see on here, I mean, if you look closely, you can see it, but it's really not that noticeable. And you know what you could even do? I just thought of this. We can get an alternate color and crochet a chain, and it could be like a collar, and it'll cover that up even more. But Pi didn't wear collars, so I'm going to do that. All right. And I think I'm going to go ahead and start back here in the back. So that flat part, it's the same concept. I'm going to pick up something, and I'm going to go underneath a little bit. Okay. Okay. And I'm going to pick up something else that looks like it's almost underneath. And do that. Okay. I'm not going to pull it tight yet. We can do that at the end. So I'm doing this and I'm kind of squishing it so I can get underneath it a little bit. Feel free to stop and check where you are. I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to this stuff. I kind of like the art of it being not perfectly straight. Whoa, I was pulling that out. Don't want to do that. When it comes to crochet, I'm not really like that with grooming. I like things to, things have to be proportionate when I'm grooming. Okay, now to get underneath here, I'm just gonna pull that leg down. And basically at the top of the leg is where I am. I'm gonna grab it, and then I'm gonna go out here. Okay. Pull this other leg down. And now, I don't know if you noticed, I was going this way. Now I can't seem to get in that way, so I'm just gonna go the opposite way. Pick that up. Okay, and now I can start going back. I'm at the top of this leg. And pick that up. And I know it's all loosey-goosey right now. Go at the back here. It's basically just eyeballing it. Okay, there's that. Now I'm gonna pull it, see what happens. Yeah, I pulled it, kind of made it all disappear. Get rid of some of this excess, and then I'm going to tie a knot. Not as tight as I can go, but just to make those seams disappear. This one actually turned out a little bit better. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those two strands and we're going to get rid of them. So I'm going to go back in. I see a hole right here. And it doesn't matter where you come out. You can go on the bottom, go wherever. And then I'm going to pull it taut. And there's that. Yeah, this one's really cute. Now let's do this tail. Back is starting to hurt. I've been sitting here for, can't even tell you how many takes I've done. Still gonna have to edit a lot. All right, so where's our janky bit? Here's our janky bit. So, I'm gonna make that to be the back, so I'm gonna flatten it out so that that is gonna be on the inside. And then I'm gonna go right here on the bum, and we're gonna lay it flat on there. And this is where you'll see, because you may want it lower, or whatnot, but I'm gonna go right where I knot it off, and then I can sew it as I need. So first, we're just gonna get it on there. So just gonna go right there. Make sure it's going in the right direction. And pick up where I knotted off. Get a couple of strands there. And then I'm gonna pull it. And before I pull it tight, I am going to go ahead and start a knot. And then go back underneath, pick it up, go back underneath, hope my head's not in the way. And then I'm going to go ahead and do one more. You know, got to have a little overkill now and again. There we go. Okay, so we've got that sewed on. And it's fine. I didn't get it perfectly on there, but now I don't want it to be out, so I'm going to sew it down. And the way I'm going to do that, maybe I should name my channel Free Ball. All right, so I'm going to just go in here, and I'm going to go underneath in here, and I'm just going to pop up somewhere like that. Okay, so now that's where I am. And then I'm going to pick up a stitch back here. Okay. There. Okay. And then I'm going to go back into the body. And I'm eyeballing where the end of the tail is. And I'm going to come out around there. Okay, that looks good. And then I'm going to grab this bottom of this tail, and then I'm going to pull that. I'm not going to, okay. And that's okay that I got a little movement right there. That gives it character. And I like that. So now that I've got that nice and tight, I'm going to flip it back again, underneath the side showing. And then I'm just going to pick something up and I'm going to knot it off. Making sure I don't grab anything. Okay. And then I'm going to just stick it in here and just come out the bum. Okay. Come out the bum. You can see it pulls it. And if that was too loose, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to knot it off again. So we pulled it out. I'm going to pick up, whether it's on here or on the tail, I'm just going to pick up some stitches and get my finger to hold. And we're just going to pull through and knot it off. And then I'm just going to hide it through the body again. That's an overkill step. There. And then, look what we got, guys. Really cute. This one actually came out a little bit different, didn't it? But yeah, it's a little rounder. So, I mean, there's a lot of variation you can do in this. You know, we did 27. You could have done a little bit more of an increase and made it wider and whatnot. I mean, it's just, I'm just now starting to put that all together about how I can really modify things and make things the way I want. So, make yourself a pyro too, or your own cat. And just want to say thank you. This was I probably should do easier tutorials, to be honest, because I'm not quite good at making them more efficient. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. And I guess I'll just catch you later this week. Thank you so much. Bye. Okay. And that still feels loosey-goosey to me because I didn't do it right. So, that's why I don't do that. Rose.